Hi, sixth graders. So in today's lesson, we're going to discuss how to revise your thinking in the face of new evidence. Some reminders before we get started. Clear your desk and close all extra tabs. You can copy using Control-C and paste using Control+V for today's War Journal notes in your digital notebook. Those links are already posted into the pages of your notebook, so you can also click that link to access the teacher War Journal notes as well. And number 3, you can always watch our videos again online. So in case you missed something or if you just want to watch again, they will be available to you. So during your last reading class, you did some really important reading work with Miss Julia. And as you did this work, I want to know, did you find yourself changing your mind about a character's traits as you kept reading your books? So let's turn to someone near us and prepare for our turn to talk. When I say go, you're going to discuss the question. Did you find yourself changing your mind about a character's traits as you kept reading your book from last class? Ready, set, go. Wow, I'm really excited that I saw everyone participating and everyone had something to talk about. So let's keep up the great work. Here's my example. When I was reading Hunger Games, at first I thought Katniss was really strong, and I thought that was a good word to describe her as a trait. And as I kept reading, I thought to myself that she's not as strong as I thought she was in the beginning of the text. And then I just decided that the word vulnerable would be more appropriate and a better fit for Katniss. And my main example was that she doesn't trust anyone for a long period throughout the book. So instead of strong, I decided to strike that out and write the word vulnerable instead. Today's teaching point is that in complicated stories, characters reveal themselves over time. Experienced readers are alert to new details, and they are ready to think and revise their ideas in the face of new evidence. So we met a character named Will. And when we started the story, I thought that Will was pretty bitter. And here are my examples and evidence. First, he said in the text that he hates picking clovers with the Allens. And my second piece of evidence was that he said he would ditch the Allens in a second if he had the chance to become popular. So for those reasons, I think Will is pretty bitter. Let's have another turn to talk. And you can have the same partners from before, or you can turn and switch to someone still in your area. There's no need for anyone to get up and move around. So let's discuss this question. After Will left the Allens, it's not clear to me whether or not he's still bitter. Do you think his personality changed? When I say go, you're going to turn and talk. I'm going to read the question again in case you already forgot. After Will left the Allens from yesterday's story, it's not clear to me whether or not he's still bitter. Do you think his personality changed? Ready, set, go. I'm going to reread an excerpt from Popularity on page 46. So just sit back and listen. I wondered what my position in the group might be. I certainly wasn't a great athlete, student, or ladies' man, but I did have a sense of humor. Maybe I could be the second funniest boy in the 4th grade. My thoughts went no further because the bell-ending recess rang. But that night, just before I fell asleep, I saw myself standing in the center of the popular boys, telling the funniest stories anyone has ever heard. Now we're seeing a new side of Will. I think that Will is hopeful. And this is the word I'm going to use to describe him. Here's my evidence. First, he imagines the new position he wants in the popular group with great detail. Second, he seems pretty hopeful and confident that he can get what he wants. This makes me think that Will is way more optimistic than he was before in the beginning of the story. Here's a teacher tip. Whenever you notice a character's traits are beginning to change, this is a great time to stop and jot. Here's another jot that I wrote. I used to think Will would always be bitter because he hated picking clovers with the Allens. That's on page 46. You can find that evidence. But then I learned Will began to observe the popular boys, and then he imagined himself as someone who makes other boys laugh. Now I believe Will is hopeful that he may become a popular kid. So do you see how I was able to think about the character's original traits? And then after reading more of the story, I asked myself, do these traits still hold true now? And then I revised my thinking and supported it with more evidence. Evidence. Love it. More teacher tips. It's important to make a plan for your work. Don't just read, especially you in the back, and I see you in the front. Don't just read. Instead, go back to some initial traits that you listed about your characters. I noticed a typo. Then you're going to look forward in the text and notice how this new reading informs or challenges your initial ideas that you had at first. Since we always want to challenge our thinking, I cannot wait to read your jots and your thoughts that you discuss in your Turn and Talks. And if you just want to share them with me in your free time, that'll be cool too. Well, I wish everyone a wonderful rest of your day, and I can't wait until our next mini lesson. Bye.